Good morning. My name is Matt Delawisio from Witness Against Torture. We gather this morning on a search for justice. Witness Against Torture began in 2005 when 25 people went to Cuba to try to visit the prison at Guantanamo Bay. We of Witness Against Torture have spent many hours, days, weeks, months, and years fasting, vigiling, writing, lobbying, and speaking on the streets and in the buildings of Washington, D.C. We have been to the federal court, to the Supreme Court, the Justice Department, the White House, and Congress. 27 people go to trial this morning for arrests on January 21st, 2010, the day before President Obama promised Guantanamo would be closed forever. Our message that day was broken promises, broken lives, broken laws. Broken promises because of President Obama's failure to close Guantanamo. Broken laws. For 7 years, the Bush administration systematically violated prohibitions against torture and cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment. President Obama has failed to hold the torturers to account and therefore has failed to enforce American law. Broken lives because hundreds, if not thousands, have been physically assaulted and psychologically tormented by an American regime designed to degrade and destroy them. What you see to my left and to my right are 3 coffins, each representing a death at Guantanamo in 2006. Initially reported by the U.S. military as suicides, recent evidence suggests these men were in fact tortured to death. This morning, before we enter the courthouse, behind us, we will hear from Bill Quigley, the legal director for the Center for Constitutional Rights, Kathy Kelly, one of the defendants in our trial and part of Voices for Creative Nonviolence, and Carmen Trotta, also a defendant and a member of Witness Against Torture.
Good morning. My name is Bill Quigley. I am part of the legal team for the group here today. I live in New York and New Orleans. I'm part of the Center for Constitutional Rights. What I would like to say is today when we enter the courtroom, we are going to ask the judge for 3 things. We're going to ask the court to dismiss the arrests of people and the charges because of the First Amendment freedom of speech and the right to peaceable assembly, to petition the government for the grievances that we see here illustrated before us. The issues of Guantanamo are those that are very serious in the United States and around the world. The First Amendment protects our right to speech and our right to peacefully assemble, and that's what this group did. So we will ask the court to dismiss those charges because of that. Secondly, we are going to ask the court to give the defendants an opportunity to apply international law. International law, which says that there is no nation that is above the rule of law in the world. International law that says that every one of us has an obligation to make sure that our government follows the law and is held accountable. And we will explain that to the court and ask the court to consider these actions of people in light of that. We understand that there is a difference between justice and law, but we are asking the court to follow the lead of the defendants in this case and narrow the distance, narrow the gap between law and justice, and approve of what in fact these individuals have done for the sake of the country, the sake of human rights, the sake of the world. And the third defense is the defense of necessity, which is in its most simple essence is that we are entitled, in some cases we are obligated to risk the violation of a small law in order to stop a much more serious crime from occurring. The crimes that are occurring at Guantanamo have included torture, waterboarding, beatings, and as you can see from the 3 coffins in front of us, in some cases even murder. And in order to stop that continuing crime, the individuals, the brave individuals around me, stood on the steps of the Capitol, and another group went inside on the rotunda. We say, first of all, that those were not crimes, that was First Amendment activity. But if it was a crime, that was a tiny crime that is far surpassed by the crimes at Guantanamo, and with the law of necessity that the individuals who brought this effort and are trying to address the human rights violations will be vindicated by the court. So the defendants have done their job. They have risked arrest. They have taken time out of their lives to do it. And now we're going over to court and asking the court to do its job.
Good morning. We moved to the courthouse confident that we are not people who have acted criminally, and that in fact, had we accommodated the political expediency of remaining silent, then we would have to consult our consciences to see whether or not we had in fact acted in a criminal fashion. And we go with confidence that the judge will uphold his constitutional obligation to be respectful of a constitution that says Congress shall make no law to abridge the right of people to assemble peaceably for redress of grievance, particularly with this constitutional awareness that we have the right and the duty to assemble peaceably for redress of grievance. We go knowing that we did our best to act lawfully in regard for international law. But there's another audience for our purpose in being here today. We want to reach out to the families of Mr. Al-Salami, of Mr. Al-Utaibi, of Mr. Al-Zahrani, 3 men who lost their lives. Their families believed at first that they had committed suicide and were then told that in fact they may have been murdered at Guantanamo. And there are many prisoners languishing in Guantanamo today who mourn the lives of their lost brothers. And for this reason, we know that we were right to sing outside and inside the Capitol steps, inside the rotunda, courage, Muslim brothers, you do not stand alone. We will walk with you and sing your spirits home. We know we should be many more than we are here today, but we know that we are an arrow pointing to what could be when we abandon the criminal militarism and the criminal execution of a so-called justice that costs the lives of innocent people. Thank you.